Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, and yes, I have rebranded. I'm no longer DC Multiverse Dude, I'm the DC Multiverse Collector. Sorry if that's disorientating, I'm sure we'll get used to it. I'm gonna muck it up and say the wrong thing, but yeah, that's a channel name change. You know, I hope you don't mind it. Anyway, I'm really excited today to be giving you a look at this McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman from Dark Knights of Steel. Now, Dark Knights of Steel, if you don't know, is a sort of a 12-part Elseworlds limited series published by DC. It was written by Tom Taylor, who is a fellow Melbourne boy, just like me. So I was really keen to check it out. And basically what Dark Knights of Steel is a fantasy Game of Thrones-esque alternate universe version of the DC universe. So you've got Batman, Superman, and a whole bunch of other characters I won't spoil in a medieval setting, you know, and it's kind of a very subversive take on DC and, you know, expectations. Your expectations will be sort of thrown aside from what you would normally expect. It's a really fun ride. It's a really great series. And Todd has given us Batman from Dark Knights of Steel. So you'll see Batman Dark Knights of Steel. Absolutely stunning art on the back. Really, really cool. If you're interested in the barcode, there it is. Now, I have to give a big thank you and a shout out to McFarlane Toys and Head Start Toys for sending me this sample for review. I know we always complain about getting too many Batman figures from McFarlane, but when he does something like this, that's really different, really unique, that we don't see every day. You know, we may not see this version of Batman ever again in figure form. I can't help but be excited about it, you know, and from the looks of things, it's a brand new sculpt from top to bottom. So without further ado, let's get this bad boy open and see how awesome he actually is. Okay, so here's everything you get in the package. Now let's get the boring stuff out of the way. We get the standard DC Multiverse display stand. You've seen it 1,000 times, and after so many reviews, I'm getting quite bored talking about it. You know what it is. I've had to stand him on it because I could not get this figure to stand up without the stand, but it is what it is. He also comes with this very, very cool sword. Now, I really, really like the sculpting on this. It's a great level of detail on the scabbard, on the hilt. The blade has been sort of painted in sort of a silvery plastic, silvery paint that I think looks really, really good, has a nice sort of a sheen to it. And overall, it's just a great looking sword. It's very soft, but not too soft. And it's come out of the clamshell very, very straight, not bent or deformed, which is nice when you get sort of an accessory that's not destroyed in the package. It can happen. You also get the standard display, trading card. Again, really cool art on the front. And if you want to read a little bit about this version of Bruce Wayne, well, actually, now that I look at this bio, it's the standard Bruce Wayne bio, Batman bio we get with every Batman figure, and this does not relate at all to anything in the Dark Knights of Steel comic. So, really disappointing trading card. That's the first time I've ever been disappointed by a trading card, but there you go. Anyway, let's get to the Batman figure himself. Now, right off the bat, I think this is a beautiful looking figure. Top to bottom, this is unique. So it's new sculpt work from the head to toe. There's nothing reused as far as I can tell. This is a labor of love. It's not perfect, but it's clearly something that Todd's put a lot of effort to. His sculptors have put a lot of effort into, and they just really love their Batman, and you can tell. Now, let's just get it out of the way first, the Batman problem. Now, everyone is always complaining that Todd just makes too many Batman figures. He makes a lot of Batman figures, right? And this is undeniable. He loves Batman. He makes a lot of Batman. And it can be wearying, but here's the reality of it. We all know Batman sells. Despite the fact that we all complain about too many Batman figures, we keep buying them because we love Batman figures too deep down. And it's the success and the financial security of releasing these successful Batman figures that allows Todd to keep the line going and give us figures like Godspeed or Impulse or Static Shock or Black Lightning, you know, the lesser known characters, Abyss, you know, these characters that aren't going to fly off the shelves, you would think, they are sustained, they are supported by Batman, they are subsidized by Batman. So if Todd wants to release half a dozen different Batmans, you know, Dark Knights of Steel Batman, or, you know, Santa Batman, then I think we just have to accept that that's part of the business of being in, you know, the DC multiverse business. Secondly, if Todd is going to give us Batman figures that are this unique and this cool, you know, I think we should celebrate it, because, you know, he's an iconic character. He has so many different versions. You know, there are comedic Batmans, there are modern, there are tactical, there are, you know, Batman is so flexible in terms of his design and appearance. Why wouldn't we want to capture so many different versions, you know, as collectors, if we are fans of the character, of course? You know, I think that's something to be celebrated. I like celebrating Batman. I don't buy every single one that he releases, but something like this, which is very unique, and let's face it, we're not likely to get this figure again anytime soon. Not until Todd loses the license, you know, and if that ever happens and some other manufacturer comes along, are they going to do a Dark Knights of Steel Batman? You know, it's a questionable prospect. Probably not. So this might be our only chance to get this extremely unique design for Batman in an action figure form. So I'm actually grateful that McFarlane's done it, and I think it's just a really good choice. So with all that out of the way, the figure itself, let's take a look at him. So starting from the top, let's just have a look at the sculpt. Incredible head sculpt, in my opinion. You see all the dents and cracks in that helmet have all been sculpted in. He looks like he's taken an axe to the head. It looks incredible. I really like the design of the helmet too. Credit to the artist of the comic. I think it's Yasmin Putri, or sorry if I butcher that, but this really captures her art and design really well. Just an incredible head sculpt. I love the eyes. The paint is good. The skin tone is maybe a little pale, but it sort of looked like that in the comics, so it fits. The lips look natural. Really, really great stuff. And you'll see that the great sculpt work continues into the joints. That little axle there or whatever it is in the butterfly joint is sculpted too, with that sort of chainmail effect. The hinge, sculpting, all the way down to the gloves, textured. So this guy's just covered in texture and sculpt. The pauldrons have been beautifully sculpted. Gauntlets, you know, top to bottom, it's beautiful. This armor at the front is covered with cracks and scuffs, the belt, even this tunic at the front where his sort of tunic flows. You see it's all ragged, beautiful texture work. None of it is flat. And this just continues all the way down. The legs, wrinkles, folds. You know, the only time you actually lose the sculpting is down here at that hideous ball joint, which Todd has hidden underneath these sort of armor pieces. I've noticed that Todd uses beautiful sculpted joints nowadays, but he reverts back to these ball joints when he thinks he can hide them with armor or boots, or, you know, and I wish he'd do away with them, because they're horrible. And in my opinion, that really is the only ugly thing on this figure are those ball joints in the ankles. So big no-no. But, you know, that's a small blemish. Let's have a look at the back. Beautiful sculpt work on this cape. Textured from top to bottom, tears. You'll see the scabbard here that the sword goes in doesn't look great because it's open. I don't know why action figure manufacturers have the open scabbards now. So that looks pretty weird, pretty bad. The sword doesn't go in any further than that, and of course it's likely just to fall out. If you pose him from this direction, he looks pretty good, even though I think that sword should sit a bit more flush. But yeah, that's the only maybe disappointing thing with the aesthetics, is the scabbard and those ball joints in the ankle. But otherwise, I think we all have to agree, even if we're not that interested in another Batman figure, this is one of the most unique and beautiful Batman figures he's released in quite some time. Now, I will say, in terms of paint, it could use more. A lot of this figure, on the body at least, is just molded plastic. Very little paint. There's some paint on the belt. The head is beautifully painted. I think everything else is just molded plastic. I think where you see it suffer the most is these armor pieces. They are molded in this pearlescent silver plastic. It looks pretty good, but it's begging for a wash to bring out those details. And you could apply a wash yourself if you're a customizer and really bring out those cracks and crevices and make them sing. Same with the armor at the legs. Just a black wash. You know, I'm sure Josh from before, hey Josh, he'll do a black wash on this within 5 minutes of getting it, and it'll look amazing. And I'm sure many of you can do that too. Let me know in the comments if you're planning to get this and if you're planning to touch up his paint. But I think that is, you know, it's a weakness. It is lacking in the paint. But, you know, if I had to choose between paint or sculpt, if I really have to choose between one or the other, I'll go with this incredible sculpt. You know, it just looks great. Now, in terms of articulation, let's have a look. His head spins 360 degrees, no problem. By nature of the way the helmet sits on the neck, he doesn't look up. So you'll get him to look 90 degrees, like straight, but you can't get him to look up. I don't know if that's a big deal to you. It's not a big deal to me, but it is what it is. He looks down just fine. Head tilt, left and right, no problem. So, you know, reasonable degree of articulation in the head, I'm pretty happy. His arms, the pauldrons are attached at the shoulder. At the forearm, top of the forearm. What am I trying to say? They're attached at the bicep, not at the shoulder, which means that you actually get a lot more motion. I really like that design choice. Todd's been doing a lot lately, and these are a softer plastic, so even if they do collide with the shoulders, you still get, you know, straight out 90 degrees. And no matter what you want to do, you can do it. You'll see he's got double jointed elbows, everything you could want. Sculpted joints, actually, no, yeah, look, sculpted joints at the wrist, so that's good. And hinge, rotation, everything you could want in the hand. So, So arms and legs, arms are good. In terms of the torso, he will spin round 360 degrees at the diaphragm cut. He has no movement at the waist. So this armor piece goes down here and is glued on there, which means he's not moving at the waist at all. So all you've got, which is probably okay, is rotation there. I think that's fine because I think to do a waist cut, a cut at the waist here would have broken up the sculpt. And with a figure like this, the sculpt is everything, you know, and I think that's a worthwhile trade-off. Let me know what you think. In terms of foot ab crunch, I bet you he's got none. Oh, barely anything. Just by the way that you know, armor sits on that, you know, it's just collides with itself, won't do much. But he'll bend backwards decently, looks all right. In terms of the legs, now obviously this tunic piece, it's very soft plastic, but it's going to inhibit the articulation. Standard McFarlane legs. Oh, you can get 90 degrees, but that plastic is just going to push it back down. So, you know, realistically, you'll get just shy of 90 degrees quite easily. Double jointed knees. Doesn't go much further than that, but what more do you need? Now, like I said, he's got those really old school ball joint McFarlane ankles, which I hate, but they get the job done. It's got a rocker, swivel, up, down, toe articulation. You've seen it a million times. It's that old-fashioned McFarlane ball joint. I don't like the look of them. They're a bit fiddly, but they get the job done. I could not get this figure to stand without a display stand. Something about him is just a bit bow-legged at the ankle. I don't know. There's something going on at the ankles that I can't figure out. Maybe it's because these are quite stiffly ratcheted, but I just couldn't get him to stand. So that's annoying. But like, you know, in general, it's quite a well-articulated figure. It's not the best I've ever seen, but given that it's a bulky knight wearing armor, it's pretty damn good. Okay, so here he is, Bruce Wayne, Dark Knights of Steel, holding his sword. Let's do some comparisons with some other Batman figures just to get a sense of his size and scale. Here he is, next to Nightfall Batman. You see they're roughly the same height. Nightfall Batman sits up a little bit straighter, he's less hunched. If I lift his head up, they're about the same height. Comparable in terms of scale and height. Obviously he's bulkier because he's got more armor. Let's also compare him to Michael Keaton from the Batman theatrical six-pack. You'll see again, they're about the same height, excluding the ears. Keaton's ears are a little bit taller, but you'll see that Dark Knights of Steel Batman is, again, bigger. bulkier, but approximately the same. Finally, let's bring in Big Boy Batman. You know who this is going to be. It's Hush Batman. There he is. He's massive. He's taller. This doesn't really show off how much taller he is because he's not standing up perfectly straight, but yeah, he's just a bigger figure. But by virtue of all of this armor, you know, they look quite comparable next to each other. Finally, here is Dark Knights of Steel Batman slaying the Joker dragon from Dark Knight's Metal. Now, of course, these are completely different storylines that have nothing to do with each other, completely separate. This should not happen. But, you know, he's a dragon, he's the Joker, he's Batman, he's a knight. So if you wanted to have Knight Batman slaying a Joker dragon, you know, this looks pretty cool. It works. So, final thoughts on this Batman? It's really, really cool. I like it a lot. I think it's super fun. I think McFarlane has absolutely killed it with the sculpt. I love getting an all-new figure with all-new sculpt. It's so exciting when you take something out of the box and you sort of don't know what to expect and you sort of fiddle around with it and see what it's capable of. And, you know, the experience of opening and playing with this figure is so much fun. The accessories are nothing exciting. He comes with a sword, which is really the main thing he needs, so that's great. He could have used another set of hands, possibly, but, you know, that's just being greedy. I think what you get in here is, you know, really good. Could have used a touch more paint or a black wash. That's fine. You can do it yourself if you really want to. I think he looks great as it is. Is it an essential figure? Absolutely not. You know, I imagine for many, they'll look at this and say, well, that's neat, that's cute, but I have no need for that in my collection. And that's fine. You don't need to get it. It's not for you. But I think the sort of people that this is for will love it. You know, the collectors of all things Batman will find this a really worthy entry into their Batman collection. And for those that just love like cool designs, cool looking things, knights with swords and armor, I mean, this is a Batman knight. What's not to love? So I really like this figure. Really, really good. And yeah, just think it's a winner. So it won't be for everyone, but you know if it's for you. And if you think it's for you, get it. Anyway, that's enough from me. I will be back with some more reviews soon. So please subscribe, like this video if it's been in any way helpful for you. I'll be reviewing the Batman animated series wave with the Condiment King Build-A-Figure. That'll be my next review. So please keep an eye out for that. I might do that individually or as a whole wave. I haven't decided, but keep your eyes peeled. In the meantime, happy collecting. And thank you for watching.